Hey folks, we're back. Stat and I are sitting here enjoying a little pizza. So we've got a couple more examples I want to do. So let's look at the first example. You should read that on your own. I'll take a bite of pizza and give you time to read it.
Can I have some pizza?
No pizza for kitty cats. It's not healthy. Did you read it while I was eating, Stat?
Yeah, I read it. There's a lot of stuff in there.
There's a lot of stuff. It's not that bad. It's a series of decisions they have to make.
Are we going to make a tree?
We're going to make a tree with it. So let's go ahead and do that. First, we'll start down here. You can read the problem carefully, but we have the option of not even buying this property. That's actually our first decision. So let's go out to the decision tree. So I'm going to get you started. It's a decision. Are you going to buy the land? Or I could call this investment. Because one option is you're just going to invest that money. Another option is you're going to buy the land. You can put the $150,000 in this investment, get back $165,000, net cash flow of $15,000, or you can buy this land. So if you buy the land, let's make this a little bit bigger. You got more decisions. It says you can't sell it to this fast food place until you've got it clean. So you can test it to see if it's clean or clean enough to make it clean. Or you could say, oh man, it was stupid to buy that. I'm just going to flip it. So I'm going to stop and let you think about what comes after this. You know, I got it started for you. So first catch up, and then there are at least, I'll give you a hint, there's two options here. There's two things you can do. So again, I'm going to pause it.
Pause.
Not those kind of pause. And try it on your own, and then I'll come back and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so hopefully you have something here. We'll see how you did. At this point, one option, and it's terminal, is say, man, why don't I buy this? I'm just going to flip it and get out of here. The other option is do the study. What does that lead to? That's one of the drawbacks in software. I have to not only know what comes out of this decision, I have to know where it goes. I have to think a step ahead. And it leads to a chance. So this first edge is just flip the land, get back $100,000. The other is the contamination study. That is more money out of your pocket. Tree's obviously not done. We know that. But this is the next step. Now again, let's look at the problem. And we had a chance thing there. So, we've already covered this, invest the money. We've already covered flip the land. We're on the part where it says, well, you could do the study. Well, the study has three outcomes. Clean, moderate, or major contamination. There's no probabilities on that yet. We'll have to talk about that. So, without the probabilities, think about what comes off of here and how many things come off of there. And again, what's that next step? Whatever comes off of here, is it terminal? Is it going to go to another question or go to another chance event? Same thing. Pause again. See what you can come up with. I'll come back and I'll walk you through it. And remember, there were 3 possible outcomes. It's clean, moderately contaminated, major contamination. Once you know that, okay, so we know there's 3 things coming out of here, but again, is it decision chance, is it terminal? Well, what would come next? You got to decide. Once you say, oh, the land's clean, what am I going to do with it? Oh, the land's moderately contaminated. What am I going to do with it? The land's major contamination. What am I going to do with it? So this is going to lead to decisions. Back here, though, I have to put in land's clean. I just won't label it because we already put that edge already says study contamination. So edge land clean. Moderate contamination. Major contamination. What are the probabilities? It didn't tell us. So the software assumes it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. We're going to come back and play with that because we don't have anything. We'll leave that for now. Now I got 3 decisions. If it's clean, what do I do? Because if it's clean, the fast food place will buy it. Yay. I could keep it because I might think someone else wants it. If it's moderately contaminated, I got to clean it up before they're going to buy it. Or I could just keep it. And then I decide, do I clean it up or not? It's going to get a little complicated. It's got major contamination. I got to pay a bunch of money to clean it or just sit on it, because I certainly can't sell it. So for the moment, I'm going to make an assumption, just to make things a little bit easier, that if we keep it, we're going to clean it. So think about what that's going to look like, and we'll go back and you try it, and I'll show you my solution. So in each of these places, I have that choice. Flip, sell it, keep it. And I said in the last segment, I'm making an assumption that we're going to clean the land no matter what we do here. So I do need to change these because now there are costs associated. If it's moderately contaminated, it's going to cost me $300,000 to clean it. If there's major contamination, it's going to cost me $700,000 to clean it up. If it is clean, I can sell, wrong place. I can sell it for $650,000. It's a positive. Or I can keep it. Now, why would I keep it? Well, this is a whole other series of decisions. What else might I do with it? But we're not going to put that in this problem. Same thing here. If it's moderately contaminated, and I've cleaned it up, now that it's cleaned up, I can sell it, and it's the same, $650,000, or I can keep it. If there's major contamination, and I spend $700,000 cleaning it, I can sell it for $650,000 to recoup some of my money, or I can keep it, hoping that it's worth more down the road. And those are all terminals, so we're done. So take a look at it. So if I buy it, and it says I should, it says I should study the contamination. So I should spend my $150, spend another $5,000, and I got 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 chances of, if it's clean, go ahead and sell it, and I walk away with a $495,000 profit. If it's contaminated, and I clean it up, and I sell it, walk away with $200,000 profit. If it's major contamination, I'm kind of stuck here, I'm going to clean it up, and I might as well sell it because at least I'll lose less money on that. Now, it's a model, simplified, idealized. I didn't put any values on keeping it. I said before, what would you do with it if you kept it? That's out of the scope of this problem, but I did put it into the tree to show that possibility. So that's the first of our other two examples. It shows a series of decisions and only really one chance event. Look at the next example. Even more property. I'll let you read that one. There's a lot going on here. So look at it carefully. There's an initial decision. Am I going to lease this land for 1 year or 2 years? If I lease it for 2 years, there's an advance payment. If I lease it for 1 year, I'll have the option later and the decision to renew the lease. There's a probability I won't need the second year. So I can sublease if I did the 2-year rental and get some money back, but there's only a 60% chance I'll find a subletting tenant. So I'm thinking about decisions leading to chance events which remain empty. So my first decision, 1 year or 2 years, and then I'm going to have this chance event, I need it or I don't. If I only did 1 year, I'm done. If I do, then I got to rent the second year. If I sign 2 years, I don't need it. I have to look for a tenant that I might or might not get. So think that through. You might even want to scribble on a piece of paper if you want. And then we'll go over and get looking at this problem in the decision tree. Like most decision trees, we are going to start with a decision, 1 or 2 years. Now the question goes back to, again, what comes off of this, the 1 or 2 years, what does that lead to? If I choose, I'd think ahead. Well, we said there was a chance event. I don't know if I need it for 1 year or 2 years yet. So I can choose the length of my lease. Now you'll notice perhaps that I'm not completely consistent in whether I always label my nodes versus my edges. Depends on the problem. This is a style question. So payoffs, if I do the 1 year lease, what did the problem say? The first year is $5,000. $5,000 cash flow. The 2 years had to be paid in advance, $9,000. Then I had the chance event. Do I need it the second year or not? And then what happens after that? So I'm going to get away from this, put the problem back up, let you look at that, and let you think about this next thing, what it goes to. So I have a chance event. I need it 2 years. I don't need it 2 years. I'll figure out how to label that later. But what do those lead to? Do they lead to decisions or do they lead to other chances? Think about that. Take a pause. And then we'll come back and see how we did it again. We'll do the top one first. There's at least one terminal node. I'm going to take it a step at a time, actually. Say this is leave after 1 year. It's a fairly long label, but I'm going to go ahead and live with it, because that could happen. And if that happens, you're done. You did a 1 year lease, you're done. Well, the other option is you don't leave. You need the second year. But there's no decision then. If you chose a 1 year lease, this is also terminal. So we said there was a 25% chance we'd leave after a year. So this is stay for the second year. And now there's money on that one. If I leave, I'm done. 1 year lease, leave 1 year, yay, done. If I stay the second year, it's $5,500. So by a 1 year lease, those things happen. We have the same two chance events. I leave after a year, or I stay the second year. But what is leave? In this case, I did a 2 year lease. So if I leave after 2 years, now I've got to make a decision. Do I try to sublet it, or just eat the money? So it's going to lead to a decision. So this is assume if I leave after 1 year, I'm going to have, if I stay 2 years, I have to decide, do I seek a sublease or just eat it? Well, eat it is going to be terminal. Seeking a sublease, I might not succeed. The other option, of course, here, which is terminal, is that I just stay. So we got to get these same labels. Leave after 1 year. It's 25% probability. Stay second year. In this case, stay in the second year entails no cost because I up front did a 2 year lease. So again, 1 year lease, I might leave, I'm done. I might stay, it costs me more money. 2 year lease, if I stay, I'm done. If I leave, well, now I've got to decide, do I try to find a sublease? Or do I just eat it, eat the cost? So I'm going to label my edges. Eat the cost. Oops. I labeled the node, not the edge. Watch for that, because I do it all the time. Eat the cost. Seek out a subtenant. Now the subtenant, you might find one, you might not, and this is all over. So again, look at that. I'll stop a minute again and let you see if you can finish the tree. And I'll come back and finish it myself. And I'm going to show you an alternative version of the tree. So if you seek the subtenant, you succeed or you don't. And the subtenant was going to pay $5,500. Oops. That's positive. They're paying you. That's not costing you money anymore. This is 60% chance of finding a subtenant. If you fail to find a subtenant, that's no different than just eating the cost up there. So there's the whole tree. First, do I do a 1 or a 2 year lease? It's a choice. If I do a 1 year, we have the probabilities. So it has a negative $4,000 expected value. If I go 2 years, it costs me $9,000. 75% chance that I'm just done, and it costs me $9,000. There's a 25% chance that I will leave. It says here, go ahead and seek the subtenant because, hey, there's a 60% chance you'll find it. Why would you eat the cost? That does make a lot of sense. And there's a 60% chance you'll get back $5,500. So it goes all the way back through. It says that you're slightly better off. Go ahead and do the 2 year lease. One of the things I noticed about the Silver decision, I may have pointed this out in class, is that it doesn't show you here the expected value of the path that it rejected. It's not comparing this 8,175 against 5,000. This is the expected value of this entire path. This path has, if you look here, a negative $9,125 expected value, which is more than this. That's why I went this route. I mentioned there's another way to do this. This is something I have talked about in class. Do you want to have all the detailed options in your tree, or do you want to presume some decisions? So here's another version of it. It says you have the same decision. Well, you lease for 1 or 2 years, and if you lease for 2 years, 25% chance you'll leave assumes you will seek a sublease or leave the space empty. It doesn't put the decision in, and you'll notice the decision tree does say, of course you will seek. Why would you let it sit empty if you have even a chance of making money? That's back to that style issue. So this is not wrong. It just presumes here a decision that this version says we want to put the decision in the tree. It doesn't make it right or wrong. So those are 2 more examples. Work through those, and then we'll be ready for new material. This is pretty much the end of chapter 3.